Hello everyone, welcome to the Parrot Teacher. Just a quick video today on can cockatiels get on with other parrots? Can you mix them? Can you cage them in the same environment? Will they get on with other parrots? Because it's a question I get very frequently and I thought it was worth a quick video about it. Superfish are joining me for this video. They'll probably be a bit noisy because it's morning, and also it's an excuse to test out my new camera and see how it works. Now, can cockatiels get on with other birds? As a sort of very general answer, yes, absolutely. Cockatiels are quite adaptable and they will get on with other parrots. I wouldn't recommend mixing them with large parrots because there's a risk of injury, and I generally would never recommend caging them together with other parrots because there's just a risk of all sorts of issues if you have different species in the same cage. If you have an aviary and you do a bit of bonding work, which I have videos on, which I'll leave a card for one now, it is perfectly fine. For example, people regularly have conures and cockatiels and budgies, etc., other small parrots in large aviaries, completely fine. However, right at the start, do not cage cockatiels, conures, etc. in smaller cages in a home environment, because all it takes is one incident and for things to go wrong, and then you've got a hurt little cockatiel. Because mostly these little guys can be aggressive, but most of the time they're pretty passive and they just don't want to get hurt. These two boys, they're always getting harassed by our conures and they just don't like it really. They're just such peaceful little creatures. There you go, you can see that, he's very tolerant there. Pickles has decided to join me as well. So having cockatiels, conures, other small parrots in the same environment, in a bird room, even in your living room out at the same time is perfectly possible, and it works very well most of the time. For example, Pickles and the boys can be out, and Pickles is quite happy to be out with them. Olive and the boys can be out in close proximity, and they're perfectly fine sort of having Olive on one shoulder and the boys on the other. Say I don't have any clips of this because it's always difficult to film. However, they just get on okay, you know, and you can achieve that with a bit of bonding work, a bit of tolerance building, and a bit of just, I don't know, just general exercise and work. Thinking common sense, you know, if you're introducing two birds, you don't want to bring them straight out together, it could cause problems, but if you do it slowly, make it a positively reinforced experience, there's no reason they can't get on very well. It's really rewarding to see Olive sort of get on with the boys because Olive's on her own, whereas the other conures have pairs, and yeah, she's just quite happy to interact with them and be near them. Whereas, for example, if I was to get Pickles and Scampi out at the same time as the boys, it creates a different dynamic because Pickles and Scampi and the boys equals flying around and potential aggression. Just Pickles and the boys is ignoring. So think about your flock dynamic as well when you're introducing cockatiels to other parrots. So I just want to show an example here. You know, Pickles is on my shoulder, she's just playing my chain, Chips on my hand, and it's completely fine because they have their own space in the environment. If you respect that as well, you'll have a lot less problems. Think about neutral locations when you're doing your bonding work with your cockatiel and other parrots. Think about sort of like what's going to make them fight. For example, if I put Chip right there while Pickles is there, that's going to cause a problem. If I introduce them onto the same food bowl, it's a problem. However, if I have a big plate, put one on one side, one on the other, that's not going to be a problem. So think about your environment and how you can use that to your advantage to create a sort of nicely relaxed place so everyone has their own sort of thing to do and can enjoy it together. Also, when you're working on getting your cockatiel sort of like used to other parrots, be aware of the potential for a fight or for violence, especially if you're introducing conures, because they're probably one of the most common ones that people mix with cockatiels. And just be aware of the fact there may be some violence. So you'll be prepared to step in, maybe have your hands sleeved, maybe have a perch to break them up, and just step in when there's any problems, you know, because conures' beaks are a lot more, a lot more beaky. They can do a lot more damage than a cockatiel, so you do not want that happening. Also be aware of on top of cage spaces, because that's one of the most common places that injuries occur, is when you have one parrot's out or both parrots out, one flies on top of the other cage, which is considered territory, and they get bitten through the bars and their toes get broken or hurt or bleeding. So be aware of that as well. Again, just to reiterate, do not cage cockatiels and conures together. I know some people do it, but normally it's in a massive cage or an aviary, and all it takes is one bad incident. Similarly with budgies, budgies are quite good at getting on with cockatiels, especially in the environment I was talking about, out and about, sharing food, etc. Sometimes in the same cage if it's massive like an aviary again, but budgies can be bullies. So sometimes you'll find that your budgie will be bullying your cockatiel even though they're half the size. So it's worth being aware of that. So just to recap, it is perfectly possible to have your cockatiel bonded and interacting with another type of parrot. It may not be ideal because they always get on with the member of the same species the best. However, it is interaction with another bird and they can have lots of fun. Just be careful about caging them together. Just try and avoid that unless it's an aviary or in a bird room. Try and encourage interaction slowly, outside, avoid territories, work on communal feeding, all the usual techniques. And your cockatiel can get on with other parrots and they can get on with them as well. Just be aware of their individual differences and the trouble that can cause. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you found this video useful. Any comments or questions, please feel free to get in touch. But in the meantime, take care and have a really good day.